Before you listen, if you enjoy the stories and want to hear more, then please consider subscribing. Most of you listening aren't subscribed, so please take this time to subscribe. Turn on notifications so you'll never miss a story and be the first to hear. You'll also be supporting me. Thank you. Okay, so get this. We decided to have a big family vacation in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur to be specific. It's me and 10 of my family members, my parents, my brothers, and their families. We're all stoked about this trip, about exploring the city and its culture, trying out new foods, and just having some quality time together. We booked this massive Airbnb apartment, 5 bedrooms. It's a pretty swanky place, all modern and posh. Floor-to-ceiling windows with a killer view of the city skyline, plush furniture, state-of-the-art kitchen, the whole 9 yards. We each have our own rooms, plenty of space for everyone. Things are off to a great start. We spend the first day exploring the city. We visit the Petronas Twin Towers, take a stroll around KLC Park, check out the colorful shops at Central Market. The city is vibrant and lively. It's like the energy of the place seeps into you. We eat some amazing local food, laugh, take a million photos. It's all great fun. We get back to the apartment, tired but happy. But here's where things start to get weird. The lights, they start to flicker. Like something out of a horror movie, right? It's annoying, but we figure it's just some electrical issue, nothing too serious. Then the knocking starts. We're all sitting in the living room, chilling when we hear it. A soft, rhythmic knocking on the door. My brother goes to check, but there's no one there. We shrug it off, figure it must be some prankster in the building. The next day is more sightseeing, more food, more fun. We check out the Batu Caves, the Islamic Arts Museum. We eat at Jalan Al-Lor, a bustling street food paradise. We're having a blast, trying to forget about the strange occurrences back at the apartment. But that night, it all happens again. The flickering lights, the knocking on the door. It's getting eerie now, like we're living in our own horror movie. We reach out to the Airbnb host. He seems just as puzzled as us. Promises to have an electrician look into the lighting issue, but there's not much he can do about the knocking. The next few days are the same. We're exploring the city by day, soaking in the sights and sounds of Kuala Lumpur. We discover this amazing restaurant, Bijan, serving delicious local fare. The rich flavors, the spices, it's all so new and exciting. So we're back at the apartment. The eating wind's down, and everyone's getting ready for bed. The city lights twinkle through the windows, casting long, dancing shadows in the room. Just as we're about to switch off the lights, they start flickering. It's like someone's messing with a giant light switch on, off, on, off. The whole apartment goes from light to dark, light to dark. We try to ignore it, chalk it up to faulty wiring or something, but it's hard to ignore the shiver running down our spines. Then it begins. The knocking. Soft at first, like a polite visitor, but we know there's no visitor. We've been through this before. My dad goes to check anyway, hoping against hope that there's an explanation this time. But no, the hallway is as empty as ever. We return to our rooms, minds hammering. The knocking starts up again. This time it's louder, more insistent. It echoes through the silent apartment, each knock like a punch to our already frayed nerves. We don't check this time. We don't need to. We know there won't be anyone there. Then, just as we think it can't get worse, the lights start flickering again. Only this time, it's not just the lights. The TVs in the room switch on and off. The microwave in the kitchen starts beeping. It's like every electronic device in the apartment is having a meltdown. The knocking grows louder, matching the chaotic orchestra of the flickering lights and malfunctioning appliances. It's a nightmare right out of a horror movie. We're huddled together in the living room, wide-eyed and scared, but trying not to show it. This becomes our nightly routine. Each day is a fun-filled exploration of Kuala Lumpur. We visit places like Merdeka Square, the bustling Chinatown. We try all sorts of local dishes from nasi lemak to satay. It was all fun and games, laughter and jokes. But every night, the terror would start. The flickering lights, the malfunctioning electronics, the incessant knocking. Each night was worse than the one before. It was like the apartment was possessed, like some unseen entity was trying to drive us out. We spend the rest of the trip with this constant sense of apprehension, enjoying the city by day, but always dreading the return to the apartment. We never do find out what's causing the lights to flicker or who, or what is doing the knocking. It's a mystery that haunts us even now. It was the summer of 2022. My buddy Jake and I decided to take a trip to Romania, a land as known for its rich history as it is for its tales of the supernatural. Keen to experience both, we chose to stay in an old manor house in the heart of Transylvania that we found at Airbnb. Little did we know, our desire for a thrilling vacation was about to be satiated beyond our wildest dreams. The manor was an architectural marvel, preserved to perfection, complete with Gothic towers and an expansive garden that bloomed with roses and wildflowers. Inside, it was a living, breathing piece of history, with grand wooden furniture, stunning tapestries, and ornate chandeliers. It was enchanting, to say the least. On our first date, we explored the nearby Bran Castle, immersing ourselves in the fascinating legend of Dracula. We roamed the local market, savoring the delicious local cuisine, before heading back to the manor. The first night passed without incident, the exhaustion from our journey ensuring we slept like the dead. The second night was a different story. I woke up to a sudden cold draft and the distinct sound of footsteps echoing through the manor. We searched the entire place but found no one. Unease began to set in, but we shrugged it off, attributing it to the creaky nature of old houses. Over the next few days, we continued to explore the rich cultural heritage of Romania, from the stunning Peel's Castle to the eerie Hoia forest, reputedly one of the most haunted forests in the world. However, the eerie happenings in the manor escalated. Lights flickered without reason, a cold draft seemed ever present, and we'd often wake up to the sound of whispers and footsteps in the dead of the night. So about a week in, just when we were starting to get comfortable with the old manor's creaks and groans, something downright bone-chilling happened. We came back after a day spent traipsing around the mesmerizing Corvin Castle to find something new in the manor. It was an old portrait in the grand hallway, one that we hadn't noticed before, and trust me, it wasn't something you could easily overlook. The painting was massive, almost reaching the high ceiling, and in it was a woman of stunning beauty, yet her face bore an expression of profound melancholy that struck a chord deep within us. Her eyes, an unnerving shade of green, seemed almost lifelike, filled with a sorrow that seemed to spill into the room. They held an unsettling gaze that seemed to follow us around the room, a gaze that chilled us to the bone. The nights grew increasingly unsettling. The whispers became more distinct, coupled with the continuous footsteps, and the portrait's eyes seemed to follow us eerily. I reached out to the Airbnb host, hoping for answers. He seemed surprised, mentioning a legend associated with the manor. It was once owned by a noble woman whose husband left for war and never returned. Overcome with grief, she was said to wander the manor in the hope of his return. From then on, each day was a test of courage. We explored the medieval city of Sora, the stunning bigger waterfall, and the charming city of Brasov. We tried to immerse ourselves in the beauty of Romania, but the nights were fraught with fear and anticipation. The whispers grew louder, the footsteps more frequent, and we often woke up to things moved around in our rooms. Despite the fear, we decided to stay, trying to coexist with our unseen companion. After all, we wanted a thrilling vacation, and we certainly got one. As our stay came to an end, I felt a strange mix of relief and melancholy. The woman in the portrait, whoever she was as much a part of the manor's history as the centuries-old furniture and grand chandeliers. We left the manor with a sense of bittersweet nostalgia, the woman's haunting gaze etched in our memory. The trip was a chilling reminder of the thin line that often exists between history and legend, reality and the supernatural. As for the lady of the manor, I hope she found her peace. For us, the trip was more than a vacation. It was a thrilling, bone-chilling adventure that we will never forget. You ever have one of those experiences that leaves you shook, like you can't quite explain it, and it just nags at you? Well, me and my two best buds, Dan and Steve, had one of those while we were on a vacation in Italy. So we're three buddies. Life's been wearing us down, and we decide we need a break. Italy's the plan. Why not, right? We're young, and who doesn't dream about the land of pizza, wine, and historic beauty? We book our tickets, pack our bags, and off we go. Venice, the city of canals. This place is like stepping into a postcard. The vibrant hustle and bustle of the markets, the ancient charm of the buildings, the serene gondolas flowing through the labyrinth of waterways, it's all so mesmerizing. We booked this Airbnb, right? an old rustic apartment tucked away in one of the city's historic districts. It was like time had decided to stand still in this low corner of Venice. The apartment was an antique lover's dream. Those high, wood-beamed ceilings, worn stone floors, and tall windows with a view of a canal. It had a character, a soul, almost. You could feel the echo of the centuries within its walls. We'd spend our first day out and about in Venice, jet-lagged. Yeah, sure, but the adrenaline of being in such a place didn't let us feel it. We got lost in the maze-like streets, stumbled upon hidden gems of local pizzerias, and marveled at the rich history at every turn. We clicked photos, made jokes, laughed, and created memories. The whole day was just packed with sightseeing and discovering. But here's where things took a turn for the strange. We got back to our Airbnb, and our luggage was all over the place. Zippers open, clothes strewn about, every single thing was messed up. It was a scene straight out of a burglary. Except for one thing, nothing was missing. Not our money, not the gadgets, not a single sock. It was weird, but we figured it must have been some mistake, perhaps a miscommunication with a cleaning service. The next day was pretty much the same deal, sightseeing, experiencing the city, trying the local cuisine. We even took a ride in a gondola under the famous Bridge of Sighs, hearing the whispers of lovers' promises in the gentle ripples of the water. The day passed in a swirl of laughter, discovery, and creating more unforgettable memories. But when we returned to our Airbnb, the same thing had happened. Luggage open, stuff thrown about, but still, nothing was missing. It was a little creepy, and it was starting to bug us. We contacted the Airbnb host. The guy, Antonio, seemed just as baffled as us. He said he'd check into it, but that didn't stop the weird occurrences. The next few days were just a repetition of the same eerie phenomenon. It's funny how quickly humans can adapt to the most absurd situations. It became our routine. We'd be out the whole day, taking in the gorgeous sights of Venice, devouring the delicious cuisine, and laughing at Dan's lame puns. But as the sun dipped below the horizon and we would head back, there was always that small kernel of apprehension about what we'd find back at the apartment. One evening we decided to stay in. We were laughing, sharing stories, having a beer or two, just unwinding. Then from the bedrooms we heard this soft, shuffling sound. My heart thumped in my chest like a drum on steroids. We went to check it out, and guess what? The luggage was once again opened, our belongings strewn about. It felt like someone, or something, was with us, rifling through our things right under our noses. That was the icing on the cake. Now, we weren't just annoyed, we were properly creeped out. I mean, it's one thing to find your stuff messed up after you've been out all day. It's another to hear it happening in the next room while you're chilling on the couch. For the rest of the trip, that eerie feeling of being watched clung to us. We were trying to enjoy our vacation, but it was hard to shake off the sense that it will happen again. We kept contacting Antonio, but even he couldn't explain what was happening. Despite the creepy occurrences, we stuck it out. We didn't let this mystery entity ruin our trip. We laughed, we joked, and we made memories. But every time we'd return to the apartment, we'd brace ourselves for the familiar sight of our belongings tossed around. We finally locked our luggage with padlocks and made sure to keep them hidden. We stopped going out to see if we can catch whoever that was, but it all stopped. But even today, we still think of that day and how someone could have endangered our lives. A vacation that was supposed to be all about relaxation and sightseeing ended up being a spooky mystery that none of us could ever solve. Deep down, however, I think it's my buddy Steve who was behind this and was just trying to prank us. He's a bit of a joker, but it certainly made our trip to Italy one for the books. Thanks for listening in. If you like these stories and want to hear more, then please subscribe and like and support this new channel. We have more stories for you to listen to.